In Genoa, Italy, hundreds of engineers are working flat out to build a brand new ship. When complete, this vessel, called the Seven Seas Explorer, will be no ordinary ship. Its designers are aiming for it to be the most luxurious cruise ship ever built. Guests will be housed in 374 suites. And at the top will be a 400 square metre penthouse that will cost £8,000 a night. The ship will be furnished with Italian stone and marble, gold leaf mirrors, and over £2 million worth of crystal chandeliers. It's a high-risk venture for the cruise ship company and its CEO, Frank Del Rio.
Anytime you raise the bar, there are risks. Because, quite frankly, shipyards are accustomed to building, let's call them Chevrolets. And this is a Rolls-Royce.
With tickets for the maiden voyage already sold out, there's no room for delays.
Our customers have high expectations, so we have to have the product ready to go on the date that we've promised, and that's our goal.
The construction team, led by Pierluigi Punta, is in a race against time to build the vessel, fit it out, and hit the deadline.
I've coordinated the activities of the ships, and I'm responsible for the final result with my colleagues. There is a lot of pressure.
It has taken 1,500 workers 9 months to assemble the steel skeleton of the vessel, install the electrical and ventilation systems, and paint all the metalwork. With just 9 months to go, there's still a huge amount of work for Pierluigi's team. They must transform the shell of the ship, installing its cabins and fitting out the vessel with its fixtures and furnishings. Then the ship must undergo a series of critical tests at sea. There's one final construction challenge for the team to complete before they can begin the fit-out. Underneath the ship, engineers are gearing up to fit the starboard propeller.
We've prepared the shaft to fit the propeller, and now we will lift the propeller using the pulleys and start installing it on the shaft.
The team must thread the 14-ton propeller onto this 40-meter long shaft. It must sit absolutely symmetrically on the shaft. If it's off-center, when it turns, it will cause the ship to vibrate, giving passengers a bumpy ride. The smallest impact between the propeller and the shaft could damage both precision-crafted components. It's a tense moment. It takes 8 hours of painstaking work to mount the two propellers. But finally, the job's completed successfully. With both propellers installed, the team can finally start work fitting out the ship's interiors. But this can't be done in the dry dock. It's too shallow. If they installed the vessel's glass and marble fixtures and fittings here, the ship would become so heavy that it would sit hard on the bottom of the dock, and they wouldn't be able to float her. Instead, while she is still light enough, they will flood the dry dock and float the ship out to a nearby pier. Here they will use cranes to load all the materials, machinery, and furnishings they need to fully equip the ship. It's a big day for the team.
Today is the first time the ship will float. This is something that is incredible because a ship is starting from drawing and steel, now it's becoming a real vessel that is gonna float.
This is the moment when the team finds out for sure if the vessel will sink or swim.
Madrina, in nome di Dio, taglia!
They flood the dry dock with seawater.
In about 12 hours we will have the ship floating. Then with the tug we move the ship from the dry dock to the pier to continue the outfitting of the ship up to the delivery.
Finally, the dry dock is filled and the vessel is afloat. With workers still installing the ship's engines, she has no power. So the team must use tugboats to pull the vessel out of the dock. But just as they prepare for the big move, the wind picks up.
To move the ship is dangerous. When it is windy, the surface of the ship is very wide, and so you have movement of the ship that you don't want.
The strong gusts, reaching up to 40 miles per hour, could blow the powerless ship off course. The team has no option but to delay the move.
With this kind of operation, one of the major risks is the manoeuvre isn't done properly and the ship's hull gets damaged. One mistake can be fatal.
Marcello keeps the crew on standby. With such a tight construction schedule, they need to get the ship moving as quickly as possible. It takes 4 hours for the wind to drop, and the operation to move the ship finally gets underway. It's a risky maneuver. A sudden gust now could blow the ship out of control.
Comunque ci viene bene probabilmente come abbrivio. Abbrivio ci viene bene.
Just as the tugs begin to pull the ship, the wind picks up again.
Dai. Dove c'è tag, perfetto, guarda. Meglio di così non ci poteva capitare.
The ship brushes against the dock. Luckily, there's no serious damage. It takes careful maneuvering to guide the vessel to the pier.
Complimenti. Grazie. Di oggi, perché il trasferimento di una nave in condizioni estreme come quelle
Moving a ship in extreme conditions like this morning's
mi hanno reso una giornata
made it a very
molto
tense day for
tesa e
me.
nervosa. Ogni cosa è andata bene, ora c'è da
It all went well,
mollare e
and now we can relax.
rilassarsi solo per oggi.
just for today though.
The team now has their work cut out to fit and test the ship in time for the maiden voyage. After 10 months of construction work and a successful float-out, the Seven Seas Explorer is finally in the water. The shell of the ship may look complete, but there's a huge amount of work that needs to be done inside the vessel. Large areas are bare steel. The The shipyard team must now transform this cold grey skeleton into a floating palace.
I think straight would be good. I think straight would be good.
In Florida, Johandel Ruiz's team must design the furnishings for the vessel's suites.
The whole pattern going.
Our initial brief for Region Explorer was really to design the most luxurious cruise ship ever built. So, right off the bat, we knew that we had to design something really special. It was really about the small details. It was about the craftsmanship, the bespoke elements in the room. In the penthouse suite, we have a mother-of-pearl inlay in our dining tables, which is really exquisite. We have beautiful trims on pillows. The headboard material in the penthouse suite was custom made by an artist, and it's all embroidered panels. We were all so excited and scared at the same time, because, you know, that is such a high benchmark to achieve.
With so much skilled work to be done inside the ship, to install the cabins and public areas, Pierluigi's team is falling behind schedule.
We need to take care of all the small details of the installation. This is the most challenging part of the building.
To get the vessel ready on time, Pierluigi pulls out all the stops.
We have a lot of people on board. Today there will be about 1,500 people.
Activity inside the ship ramps up as the rooms and structures start to take shape. It's the job of project supervisor Marco Pastorino to check up on progress of the fitting out.
This is going to be the second level of the spa. So we're going to have here the gym and the aerobic area.
With 374 suites to install and fit out, it's critical the team don't fall behind schedule.
What the yard started already to do is the delivery of the first 50 suites for passenger. So today for me it's important to see how the vessel is going on.
The suite's bathrooms will contain 25 square meters of polished Italian stone. And at the back of the boat, in the outside space, they're installing an infinity pool.
We will have glass at the very end, so all the guests that will be in the infinity pool will be very close to the end of the vessel, in a position to appreciate the sea. And I think that this is going to be one of the most beautiful parts of the vessel.
Before the Explorer can be delivered to its owners, she must undergo a series of technical trials and a passenger comfort test. If she fails a single one, the maiden voyage could be delayed. With just 11 weeks until the ship must be ready, over 500 engineers and technicians board the vessel for a series of crucial sea trials. The Explorer sets sail for the first time. It's make or break for Pierluigi. Over the next 3 days, his team will run tests on every critical system on board. And the engineers will have to be on hand to answer questions. Ship surveyor Jean-Jacques Genet will assess the vessel's performance. Jean-Jacques and his team must certify that the ship conforms to international regulations and is seaworthy.
But it's completely independent from what we have on the bridge?
One jar is here,
Okay.
and one GPS is here.
At the end of the building period, we will issue class certificates which will allow the ship to sail, and we will also issue safety certificates. And this will allow the vessel to take passengers. Without these certificates, the ship is just a floating piece of steel.
Almost immediately, there's an unexpected problem in the engine control room on Deck 3. One of the ship's engines is in danger of overheating. Chief Engineer Luca Grigi must act quickly.
Shut down. Hotel MX3. Close? Yes.
He shuts down a faulty cooling pump.
We have to wait, low temperature water will drop down a little.
Boss, we have a shutdown, we cannot start them. Dann, weil sie im Shutdown stehen, das heißt...
Hello?
Is what's the propulsion on the engine number 1, huh?
Yes, we are solving the problem. We had an overheating of one seawater pump, so the pump tripped, and the temperature of the cooling water rise more than the set point of the alarm.
Chief?
Yeah, no.
It's number 4.
Okay.
Shut down.
Okay. So, two problems at the same time.
While Luca tries to resolve the engine problem, the sea trials get underway.
Full speed up.
The first test is on the anchor.
These are one of the most crucial parts of the vessel, which is really needed to work every time.
If the ship loses power, the crew must be able to drop the anchor fast to secure the vessel.
Yep.
It goes perfectly.
Back on Deck 3, Chief Engineer Luca has discovered the cause of the engine problem.
Okay, the system is new and there is some erratic reading from the sensors.
And now it's already okay and you can acknowledge.
With all engines back up and running, the sea trials continue. Next, the lifeboats. If anyone falls overboard, a rescue boat must be ready to rapidly deploy and save them.
The test is to show that the rescue boat is able to be lower at sea with the ship heading at 5 knots.
The rescue boats also double up as lifeboats in the event of an emergency. One of the greatest concerns for the engineers when the ship is out at sea is fire. In April 1990, an arsonist started a fire on board the ferry Scandinavian Star. The blaze spread rapidly. Poisonous smoke channeled through corridors and into cabins. Some people were able to escape in lifeboats, but 159 died. To prevent a similar disaster happening again, cruise ships like the Explorer must meet stringent regulations. It starts with the design of the ship's interior.
So this whole entire section over here is all the materials, all the finishes that we need to use to develop a cruise ship interior. From laminates to decorative lighting, we have bins full of fabric, and anything we use, whether it's a vinyl that has to be inherently fireproofed or fire retardant, to wall coverings as well. Every material that is used on the ship has to be of the highest standards in order to prevent flame spread or smoke inhalation or even toxicity. So we have to be very careful.
Should a fire break out, the vessel is divided into compartments. If a blaze ignites in one, doors automatically close to contain the fire. But there's one problem none of these measures can prevent. If a fire destroys the control cables running from the bridge to the engine room, it could cripple the ship. On the bridge, where the captain controls the ship from, technicians are connecting up the vessel's systems. These cables are so critical, the ship is being built to a new safety standard called Safe Return to Port. Unlike older cruise ships, every control and power cable on the Explorer has a backup, routed through a different part of the vessel. So if one network is burned out, the ship can still sail safely to the nearest port. In addition to this second set of cables, the ship has a backup bridge, 4 decks higher up.
This is an emergency wheelhouse and it's closed in a protected box. So in case of a fire, of real emergency, you can maneuver the ship from here.
After 2 days of testing around the clock, the results of the sea trials are looking good. But the team have yet to carry out the vibration test. For a ship aiming at the top end of the cruising market, these results will be crucial. The Seven Seas Explorer is out at sea for the very first time. It's a crucial time for the crew. They are coming to the end of a series of trials that will determine if the vessel is seaworthy. One vital test remains. The ship must meet a standard called comfort class. The propellers have been designed to be vibration-free, so that guests can sip their tea without spilling a drop. Today's tests will reveal if the plan has paid off.
The rule of this comfort class limits noise and vibration for the different type of spaces. Crew cabin, luxury passenger cabin, you have corridors, you have public space.
The tests are carried out under the most demanding conditions, with the ship sailing at full speed. The team collects readings from the vibration and noise sensors in different parts of the ship. After 3 days and nights, Jean-Jacques Genet gives his verdict on all of the trials, including the crucial vibration test.
The measurements have been done here during this sea trial. They are quite impressive, impressively good. Yeah.
The ship is certified to sail and has passed the vibration test, achieving the all-important comfort class. But Pierluigi and his team can't rest on their laurels.
The result was very, very good. Now we have the final rush.
With just weeks to go until the maiden voyage, hundreds of craftsmen are racing against the clock to deliver the ship on schedule.
It's crazy what happens in the last 90 days. The ship will be completely transformed.
Much of the detailed fitting out of the ship must be done by hand. It's intricate, time-consuming work.
You you'll see over 1 acre of marble throughout the vessel laid in different areas. All of the bathrooms are marble and stone and perfectly cut. We look at many different color palettes. We determine where furniture goes, where lighting fixtures go. It's been magic to make it come together. From a set of drawings to see raw steel to the beautiful interiors that we stand in today. Luxury for us means space and variety, so we have high space ratio per guest.
Two days before the ship leaves the yard in Genoa, CEO Frank Del Rio arrives from Miami to check up on progress. There's still a lot to do.
This is our mess room, and there's still a couple hundred pieces to hang. Some will go in the hallways and the little niches, some will come in this room.
Frank has personally curated a £5 million collection of art to display around the ship. There's just 8 days to go until the first guests will be shown to their suites for the maiden voyage.
I was worried at the time I signed the contract 3 years ago, so yes, I'm worried. But our team is very resilient. We're working through the night. We're working double shifts. We've got this knack to come through and deliver right before showtime begins.
Thank you.
Today is a momentous occasion for the shipyard team.
This is the result of our work over about 2 years, from the initial plate cutting until this moment, when the ship is ready to leave the yard.
The vessel leaves its dock in Genoa for the last time. The final fitting out will continue as she sails.
Midship. Port 10. Port 20.
On the bridge, her first captain, Stanislas Mercier de la Combe, takes command.
2, 3, 5.
He sets course for Barcelona, where the ship will take on provisions before heading to Monaco, where the first passengers will board.
Thank you.
After 20 years at sea, this is the first time he's ever captained a brand new ship.
Thank you. Port 10. The ship is amazing. We are able to go nearly at 21 knots, and there is basically no wake. The maneuverability of the ship is really nice, a lot of power, but we just start to know each other. So it's a bit like a first date. We take things very slow, very gentle. Out to port.
While moored in Barcelona, workers race to stock the ship with all the food and drink they'll need for the maiden voyage.
We sail around the world, so our planning is around the world. We work usually 12, 18 months ahead on looking at provisioning ports.
We do some quality control, of course, on what we receive to ensure that we have the best product and the most fresh product.
Swordfish.
15 tons of fruit, 270 kilograms of chocolate, and over 5,000 litres of milk need loading into the ship's stores.
So all down the corridor here on both sides, we have different freezers and fridges, all the different temperatures for the product that it's going to be.
They must store enough frozen and dry produce to last the entire cruise.
Fresh produce, maximum we'll do is 10 days between loadings. After that, you don't have the freshness that we need.
They will also need over 7,000 bottles of wine.
We have some Chateau Petrus, which is a
A nice Pomerol from 1988. This one on our wine list, I think we sell it for a little over $3,000 for the bottle. We don't want to drop it or shake it around much, so it has its own little special place.
Fully provisioned, the ship sails on to Monaco, where she will receive her first guests. This is the first opportunity for the new crew to train up for the maiden voyage. Time is tight for them to learn the ropes.
Boys, let's go. Come. Get closer here. All ready for the tea time of today?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. The chef will explain us exactly which cheesecakes we are serving today. Chef, please.
This is a dulce de leche cheesecake, which is caramel cheesecake. And then we have the New York cheesecake with the different toppings. Then we have the cheesecake souffle. And finally, we have the red velvet cheesecake.
Nuts free.
In the kitchens, the chefs are feeling the heat as they trial dishes for the new menu.
Is everything okay?
We are doing okay. We're working on the corn now.
Okay. I like the way you did the avocado. And
we have the main kitchen where we are now, where we do most of the production. And then we have for each restaurant, we have their own kitchen. Do we have some nice julienne of maybe carrots and some frisee lettuce?
Yes, sir.
Can we get it?
Yes, sir.
In their first year at sea, the chefs will serve over 1.5 million dishes.
We have 85 chefs on board, from baker, butcher, we do all the meat cutting on board, pastry, and then saucier, breakfast cook, rôtissier. It's quite impressive.
What is this?
Also, put it over there.
In the laundry room, housekeeping staff learn how to operate the supersized machinery. If they feed it correctly, this machine can iron and fold 500 sheets an hour. In the ship's theatre, workmen are busy laying the carpets while the band rehearse the first show. The passenger suites are finally ready for their first guests, just in time.
Our guests have been asking for something special like this. These folks can afford anything and everything. They have the best of the best in everything they do. And what was missing in their portfolio of things that they do and things that they want to accomplish in their lives is luxury cruising.
On an early summer's morning, the ship sails into Monaco harbor. And hours later, guests arrive for the christening ceremony. The ship's godmother, Princess Charlene of Monaco, will christen the vessel with a Goliath bottle containing 7 gallons of champagne.
Our next ship, 7 Sea Explorer. May God bless her and all who sail on her.
It's an emotional feeling to see it go into service. The ship really comes to life, and that's what it's all about. So when the guests arrive, it'll look like that it's always been that way.
Station 1 and 2, we are underway.
Okay.
After 3 years of design, 18 months of construction, and the work of thousands of engineers, designers, and craftsmen, the vessel finally embarks on her maiden voyage. The big question: will this new cruise ship deliver on the owner's ambition to be the world's most luxurious ship? The Seven Seas Explorer has embarked on her maiden voyage, cruising the Mediterranean. The next big challenge? Living up to the expectations of wealthy guests. The day starts with breakfast, and the menu needs to satisfy the preferences of all 750 passengers. From a full English breakfast to champagne and caviar. Culinary director Bernhard Klotz has his work cut out, coordinating operations across all 5 of the Explorer's kitchens.
We work 24 hours. We have a day shift and we have a night shift, especially in the pastry and in the bakery, to prepare the breakfast for the morning.
Bernhard's crew must serve breakfast in 5 different locations throughout the ship.
I'm having an Eggs Benedict. I was actually thin before I got on the ship.
It's the job of General Manager Massimo Azzani to keep the 559-strong crew in line. They can't afford any sloppy service.
Each of us know that any guest request has to be satisfied. They are served immediately, and we are able to really deliver a personalized service to each and every guest on board.
With almost 1 crew member to each guest, the Explorer has one of the highest crew-to-guest ratios in the cruising industry. 12 of the crew are butlers, dedicated to the most expensive suites.
It's my job to make sure the guests are happy. And I not only surprise and delight the guests, but I make sure they have a perfect, memorable experience in the suite.
88 of the 374 suites come with butler service. It takes 6 months of training to become a butler on this ship.
Speedboat in our starboard. Thank you.
The ship is spacious, obviously brand new and shiny and bright. Everything catches your eye. The marble in the bathrooms.
We continue to wonder whether there is any marble left in Italy.
For a 2-week cruise in the Med, suites range in price from £9,000 to the most expensive at £50,000.
Hello! Good to see you!
Every evening, the crew must provide classy entertainment for their well-heeled guests.
Good evening, how are you? Good evening, how are you? Good evening, nice to see you.
Tonight, they're hosting a cocktail party where the 3 most senior officers dash from deck to deck, greeting all the guests.
Good evening, how are you?
They call it the block party.
The block party is meeting your neighbors.
Meeting your neighbors, meeting the
and the
crew.
staff.
And the crew.
And the staff and the crew.
And getting free wine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go.
I don't know if it's a fun thing for them, but it's a fun thing for us.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hey. Good evening, nice to see you. How are you?
You all right?
Oh, God! 1 New York strip medium, 1 porterhouse medium.
Todo al sol.
Running the 3 specialty restaurants each night is a non-stop challenge for the kitchen and waiting staff.
Guests expect to dine each night in the Michelin-starred restaurants.
Make sure you put the tart in the center, like the chef wants it.
They expect to have champagne included and especially to have a personalized service.
In the ship's French restaurant, Chartreuse, chefs must prepare over 200 dishes from scratch each night.
Guests are requesting to dine there, if they can, every single night.
Over the course of a 2-week cruise, the restaurants serve up almost a ton of lobster.
All right, so let's say break a leg.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
We will.
The crew needs to set a new standard for cruise ship entertainment. The passengers on this ship won't settle for a second-rate show.
Hi, girls. Just wanted to say break a leg. How you doing? You all right?
Tonight's show is a cabaret-style production called Paradis.
We do a bit of the can-can, a bit of La Vie en Rose. It's a pretty high-energy show with these gorgeous costumes.
Lead singer Lisa Coonan has performed in shows around the world.
We have rhinestones on our tights. We have headdresses designed by a New York costume designer. This dress is probably the most expensive dress I've ever worn in my life.
Building the Explorer was a unique engineering challenge and a high-risk venture for cruise ship CEO Frank Del Rio.
You know, when you have one-of-a-kind breakthrough products, it requires much more than just vision. It requires execution, and I couldn't be happier with what I'm seeing.
Frank has already commissioned a sister ship to the Explorer. But only time will tell if this ship will prove a long-term success and if Frank's gamble will pay off.